Hello and welcome back. We are going to do the front end of this project. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So we've done the back end, right? We got the full CRUD functionality working. We can get all of our books that we've done. We can get just one of the books if we wanted. We could delete a book. We could update a book, and we can create new books. Now, all right, I want to show you the finished product, which is right here. We're gonna create this. We're going to, in React.js, create exactly this. So we have our list of books. You can view the book, or you can delete the book, or you can update the book. My backend is a little slow. It's waking up. So we don't have the information yet. It'll come. There it comes. There it is. There we are. And we can update the book. We can add a new book right here. Yeah, very, very simple, but works like a charm. So let's create our project. I'm going to go into where I want this project to be, which is my projects folder. And then what we're gonna do is you can use whatever skeleton code for React you would like. I use one that my coding bootcamp put out, which is JS Generate. I like how they do it. And this, let's see, I'm gonna call it book index. And all right, this is gonna take a second to create. So I'm gonna pause the video and then I'll have it all opened by the time we get back. Okay, here is the newly created project. We have our starter code here. I'm just going to install npm. Let's see. Make sure that you are inside of your project if you're doing it in the command prompt, and if you're doing it in VS Code. It's a good thing to make sure. So npm install. Okay, now we have npm, we have our node modules. I'm going to just straight off create a file, called it .getignore, and inside there put our node modules, just so that we don't forget to do it later. All right, now that we have that, let's start coding. Okay, let's go into our app. Let's see, what did I call it? App.js, that's what it's called. No. Source, components, app.js. If we get this started, we could do an npm run. Oops, I mean npm start. You can do run start, or you can just do start. We're going to take that. And there we have our starter right here. Let's run in. Everything looks good. I'm just going to situate this a little bit so you can see both screens at the same time. Okay, let's do first. Let's do this front page right here. So we have our title of book index, we have our list of books, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to first and foremost, get rid of this right here because we don't need that. And I'm going to create my own H1 tag, call it book index. And so this book index will be shown on all of the pages. And then we're gonna have a little break. Call that HR, like that. And that's gonna give us a line, which you can't really see it, but it does give us a line. And let's see. Okay, what I want to do is I want to set up my routes. So we'll at least have that set up even if we're not quite using them yet. So we're going to come into Bootstrap here. And that is, we have our app here. It's inside of the source folder. We have our Bootstrap and we're going to, let's see, we have our browser router. We're also going to import, in our browser router, we're going to import route and navlink. If you don't have browser router, if you're using a different starter code, then you'll need to import it, maybe download it. All right, so let's get rid of this app for now. And inside of our browser router, I'm going to have a div because browser router can only accept one thing. And if we put everything in a div, then it will work. So we have a div, we're going to give it another div with a class name. I'm going to call this nav. There we go. And inside we have our nav links. Whoops. A nav link to, and this is going to be our home link. Just like that. All right, now we're going to do the same thing. And this is our, what do I call it? Add book. To add book. And then close that off. Oh, I needed 2 equals. There it goes. That looks better. Okay, to navlink, and we're going to call add book. Okay. Underneath this div, so we have our nav div. Underneath this div, we're going to create another div. And inside, we're going to have our routes. Oops, route. And then this first one is the home path. Exact path equals the slash. And it's going to take in the component of app. Close that off. And there we go. And I'm just going to actually copy this. We're going to have 4 different routes. So we're going to have the home route. We're going to have the add book route. We're going to have the delete book route. And then we're going to have the view book. And so I'm just going to paste that in 3 times, just like that. This one, let's see. This is the add book. Component is add book. Let's see, this one, what did I say? A delete book. With the component delete, we're going to call it delete landing. I'll explain why in a little bit. And then this last one, view book, and that will take in an ID. And then the component will be view book. Just like that. Now we gotta import these because they don't have access to them right now. So let's do that. Down here, we're going to say, I'm gonna move this down so that all of my page imports are at the same spot. Import add book. That's going to be add book from, and we haven't actually created this page yet, so it won't like it. But it's going to be components / add book. I'm actually just gonna create that new file, book.js. Okay, back in my Bootstrap, I'm gonna copy that 2 more times. We have add book, we have delete book, and we have view book. So add book, delete book, from delete landing, that's what we're going to call that, and then view book, and then this one is also just view book. Okay, let's create these 2 pages. New file, delete landing.js, and then new file, view book.js. Okay. So I don't think it likes it because we don't have any code in those files. Delete landing is not defined. Delete book. Oh, because I called it delete landing. That would do it. Error code div. Okay, I figured out what my mistake was. So nav link here, it doesn't like that because it's supposed to be a capital L. Nav link like that. So, you know, sometimes you just got to make rookie mistakes like that, right? And if we fix all of those, then you can see it is now up and running. The only difference is that while I was doing some debugging and trying to figure out what was going on, I did add a class component to each of these new ones. Yeah, I don't think it should break yours. I mean, we'll be making it, so if you want to pause the video and continue to make it, then you can do that. But we'll go through each of them. All right, so we have our nav link here, which will go between add book and the book index, the home page. That is good. Let's see, go to, so we have our app.js. We're going to, let's create a page, a new file, and call it book index.js. Keep that. Book index.js, make it a class component. Now that's a shortcut that I created, so you'll probably have to type it out if you haven't created one yet. And call it book, book index. And we're just gonna say book index. And then we're going to import it in our app.js. import book index from /book index right there. And under this break, we're going to use it. So we should, yep, there it is, book index right here. So that's working. There it is, okay. Let's get all our books, let's do it. So we're going to make a constructor. And it is going to have props, super with props, and then we're going to have a state. This.state equals, and so we're going to, what's going to happen on this page is we're going to call into our backend that we created and say we want all of our books. And then we're going to store those in our state. So we're going to say books, and that is going to be an empty array. Cool, cool. So let's see. Let's create our API call. We're going to say it's going to be automatic, right? So right as you load the page, you're going to call the API. So we're going to use a component did mount right there. And I'm going to use fetch. I'm going to fetch, and we're going to call our, let's see, where's our back? I'm going to put that in there. And then use our route that we used for getting all of the books, which was books. Cool, all right. After that, we're gonna have our method will be equal to get, and our headers will be equal to, we have accepts, oh, these accepts, application, and JSON. And then our content type is also application JSON. All right, now we can do our promises here. We have .then, response, use that in an arrow function, and we're going to return response. Actually, for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to console log our response, just to make sure that we're getting it. Console log. Let's see. Get response with our response. And let's make sure that we catch, let's see, going to the end here. Catch our error. And we'll console log fetch error with our error. Okay, it doesn't like something. Oh, it's because for some reason my VS Code likes to import things that I don't actually need because it tries to help me out. There we go. Okay, it looks like we are getting a response. Here we go. Cool, so we are getting back information from our backend, which is perfect. So instead of our console log here, we are going to return response.json, just like that. And then we're going to store the information that we get from there into our state. So we're going to say data with an arrow function, this dot set state, books. I'm going to set our data to our books. So if we down here console log, well, not in the return, here, console log this dot state dot books. Oh, we have an empty array. I'm gonna make sure that my, let's see, it's still running. It looks like, doesn't look like it's still running. So let's try out Python app.py. I don't think that's the right one. I have like a million tabs open. Give me a second. I will get my backend running. So my backend was running. I realized what the problem was is that I put book instead of books. All right, so that should work now. And it does. Here it is. We have our 4 books here. You may have more than me or less, but we are getting our information back. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Moving down, so we want to display our information right here on the page. So what we're going to do, I'm going to get rid of this right here. We're going to give this a class name equal to, I'm going to call it content. Instead of book index here, that was just to make sure we were on the right page, we're going to have a h1 tag, and it's going to have, it's going to say list of books. And then, let's see, we're going to map through our array that we're getting. We're going to say in curly brackets, this dot state dot books dot map. So we're going to map each book. Let's see, and then we're going to have an arrow. And in there, so we're mapping through each of our books. We're going to have a div with a key, because the key is going to be the ID number, which is the 0 index. So book with the 0 index, because that's the first thing that comes back. So that's the key. Let's close that. I don't know why it didn't close that for me. Okay, now let's have our h2 tag with book title equals book index 1. All right. I'm going to keep going. An h3 tag with book or author. Author will be book with an index of 2. And then I know why this isn't working. This is supposed to be parentheses, not code brackets. I was wondering. And VS Code likes to be so helpful. There we are. Okay. I was wondering why it wasn't turning up. So make sure after this arrow function, you have a parentheses instead of curly brackets. Okay, after this H3 tag, I'm going to have a div with a class name of links. And then, oh, why won't it close it for me? It's annoying. Div. Okay. And then I'm just going to hard code those in for right now. I'm going to say, give an A tag. Equals, it's not going to go anywhere for right now. And you then do the same with delete. Cool. Cool. So yeah, here's our first page. We have the list of books with their author, and we do have non-functional links here.